Hi, my name is Hobart from HobartsReviews.com, and today we're going to be diving deep into the Onecna GT9. It's a dual motor, 7,000 watt electric scooter that promises a top speed of 55 miles an hour, a range of up to 70 miles, and lighting so ridiculous, well, you're just going to have to see it for yourself. Now, I've tested a lot of electric scooters over the years, and this one right here might be one of the best bangs for your buck you can get right now. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with the buying experience. The price of the Onecna GT9 is normally $2,199. But it's currently on sale for just $1,549. Now you're getting performance equivalent to scooters in the $2,500 to $3,000 range. At just $1,549, this is a straight up steal. Now for color options, it's only available in black, but if you turn on those deck lights and stem lights at night, it suddenly turns into a moving rainbow display that's impossible to miss. All right, let's talk about the motors. So we have 3,500 watts in that wheel and 3,500 watts in that wheel for a total of 7,000 watts. Now that's gonna get us a top speed of up to 55 miles an hour. Now I've only had the guts to go up to 51 miles an hour so far, and part of that, well, it's because I was scared. The other part is because once you get to around 46, 47 miles an hour, you start to get a strong vibration, and I'm going to show you and talk more about that when we head out on the ride. Now, if you do live in a hilly area, you don't have to worry, because with 7,000 watts of power, you can get up inclines of up to 45 degrees without any issues at all. Now, when you're in dual motor and sport mode, like how I'm going to be riding today, it doesn't ease you into the acceleration. It launches you into freaking outer space, and I can't wait to show you that here in just a couple minutes. Now, to power these two 3,500 watt motors, you need a big battery, right? Well, we've got one here inside the GT9. It's a 60 volt, 38 amp hour lithium ion battery. Now, if you do run this thing all the way to empty, which I don't suggest that you do, it could take you up to 10 to 12 hours to charge the battery. Now, they do give you 2 chargers with the scooter, so you should be able to cut that in half. Now, they also say we can get up to 70 miles of range on the GT9, which is like going from where I'm at right now in West Palm Beach all the way down to Miami, which is crazy. Now, I'm not going 70 miles on today's ride, but we're gonna ride our ride, and at the end, we'll find out how much battery we have left compared to how many miles we rode, and we'll do some math from there. Now, one of the advantages to having such a large, beefy electric scooter is the rider weight capacity. Now, typically, you're gonna find between, 250 to 330 pound weight capacity for a regular scooter, but on the GT9, we have a massive 550 pound rider weight capacity. So for you larger riders, you should have no issues not only riding the scooter, but hitting that top speed as well. Now, there is a disadvantage of such a big and beefy scooter, and that's portability. Now, this thing comes in at just over 120 pounds, which is gonna be really hard unless you have an extra person to get it into the back of your truck or your SUV to take it somewhere. But I guess that's to be expected because, well, everything on this scooter is bigger than normal, from the bigger tires, the bigger motors, even the battery, which is twice as big as a typical dual motor electric scooter. To stop 7,000 watts of power, you need some really good brakes, and we've got those here on the GT9. We have front and rear hydraulic disc brakes, which is a nice upgrade at this price point. Now, they seem to work really well so far. They're strong and reliable, and shoot, I haven't even had a squeak out of them yet, which is always a pro. Now, I do think that there's some electronic braking going on here, but I can't find reference to it in the manual or how to adjust it. The reason I think that is because when I slow down, I can feel the electronic braking kick in. Now, the good news is you don't use much brake pads because the e-braking is so good. For tires, we have 12-inch tubeless street tires. Now, the manufacturer says that these are off-road, but I'm gonna have to disagree. The tread is too smooth, and you don't see those little nubbies on there that you typically see on an off-road tire. Now, for suspension, we have front dual fork suspension and rear dual spring suspension, and the rear suspension does look like you can adjust it with a spanner wrench, but I don't think you can adjust the front suspension. Now, after my last video riding the Teverin Fighter Mini Pro with its KKE adjustable hydraulic suspension, it's really hard to compare that to anything else. But the GT9 does do a pretty good job of smoothing out my ride. Now, it's not luxurious and it's not bad, but it's right in that pretty good sweet spot. Let's talk about the lighting, and this is easily my favorite feature on the GT9. If you like to ride at night like I do, you'll be pleased to know that you have dual front headlights that are not only bright and have a wide beam, they're very useful when riding in the dark at 30 to 40 miles an hour. You're not going to need an aftermarket headlight on the GT9. In the rear, we have a rear taillight which has integrated left and right turn signals. And then moving on to the stem and the deck lighting, well, that's where the GT9 becomes a spectacle. It's got RGB multicolor animated pattern lights on the stem and on the deck, which look great at night. Now, I've never seen lighting this extensive on an electric scooter before. It's a safety feature, but it's also a personality feature at the same time. Now, the GT9 does fold, but not in the typical way that I'm used to on an electric scooter. And typically, scooters are gonna fold right there at the stem, but on the GT9, it folds right in front of the deck. And it's not the easiest thing to do. Now, if you do have the steering damper installed, which doesn't come with the scooter, you can buy it separately, then you're not going to be able to fold this down and lock it with the seat post on it because they're going to hit each other. So if you do have it on, you're going to have to remove this with your Allen keys. But today, I'm not going to remove it, but I'll show you how to fold it without locking it in place. So the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to unlatch, push the spring-loaded pin, and you're going to need to bring down your seat post, okay? Then you're going to unlatch this latch here, pull out your safety latch, and then on the side of the scooter, after you put your kickstand up, you have a little latch, which once you can get it to collapse, there we go, it's gonna collapse just like so. Now, you can see that my steering damper is touching the top of that stem, so I can't go the extra inch or so to lock it into place. But it will lock into place, and at that point in time, you can lift it up and put it inside your vehicle. Now, when you get to wherever you're going to be riding, to unfold it, it's super simple. You're just going to pop it back up, which is great. You're going to put your safety latch back in, fold this latch over, then bring this up, push your spring pin, and lock it into place. And now you're ready to ride. Onecna does include some accessories with the scooter. Not the steering damper, you can buy that separately, but they did include a really cool cell phone holder. They give you a bike lock so you can lock it up when you go places, and they give you this big Onecna scooter bag. Unfortunately, their spare parts and their accessories are extremely overpriced in my opinion. For example, this scooter bag, which it costs $25 or $30, is $99 on their website. A charger is $89, new brake pads are $38, a new tire is $89, and a brake rotor is $48. In my opinion, Onecna needs to take those prices and cut them in half, if not even more, for the average person to be able to buy spare parts and accessories. We're going to start off with a speed test because I like to do that when we have a full battery. I'm going to start off with a single motor speed test, and then we'll do a dual motor speed test. So let's go. Single motor, I'm in sport mode. And speed mode 3. We're at 20 miles an hour. We're at 30 miles an hour. $36. 38 miles an hour. 39 and 40. So we hit 40 miles an hour in speed or in single motor, which is pretty darn good. But remember, that is a 3,500 watt motor, so not too bad. All right, let's do a dual motor speed test, 7,000 watts, and see how fast we can go. All right, I got dual motor enabled. Let's go ahead and see what we got with 7,000 watts. I'm at 35. I'm at 40. 45. I'm at 50. Whoa, 51 miles an hour is the top speed I just got. Holy crap. That seriously will make the skin on your face peel off. That is crazy. All right, so it's time for a high-speed brake test. We're going about 30 miles an hour. I'm gonna slam on the brakes and see how long it takes us to stop. And go. Bam! Wow. All right, so there was a little bit of a skid, but I didn't really feel like I was out of control at all, and I could barely hear the skid, but obviously you can see one here. So let's go ahead and pace this thing off and see how many feet it took us in order to stop. So it looks like that the line starts right about here. So let's pace 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. About 35, 36 feet it took us to stop from 30 miles an hour with the hydraulic brakes and the electronic braking. Also notice you didn't hear any squeaking or any noise at all. Those brakes are awesome. They're perfectly quiet and they really work well. So nice brake test. All right, so I told you that these are street tires and they shouldn't be ridden off-road. Now they do have tires that are off-road tires available for this on their website, but like I was telling you already, they're pretty expensive. So I just wanted to kind of take you out on some sand real quick to kind of show you if you go slow and you're in single motor, then you should be fine. But even turning when you're in sand like this can make you skid out. Now, if I put myself in dual motor and try to go, watch the peel out. I mean, it just peels out the front wheels. Whoa! Whoa! So you don't want to ride in sand in dual motor if you can help it. Keep it in rear motor and you know, you should be okay. But again, I would be very careful and ride very slow when you're in sand like this, because these street tires are just not made for them. But I guess it is possible. And of course, my favorite boardwalk to ride over here. I've ridden across this in a couple videos. It's just really cool how they're able to incorporate, you know, something like this in nature when you're kind of going in between neighborhoods inside of a neighborhood. Where I'm at is a really big neighborhood that has little neighborhoods inside of it. So this kind of connects the two and you get a little bit of nature all at the same time. Very cool. Now you notice I do have the steering damper on here, and they sent that to me to give it a try just in case I wanted to. Now let me make it clear though, this scooter does not have speed wobbles. There is no speed wobbles on the GT9, so you don't have to get it. But it is available if you want to buy it on their website. Now, what did it do? Well, it didn't take away the vibrations at 46, 47 miles an hour. But since there's no speed wobbles to do anything with, it just basically, I guess, makes it easier for me to ride one-handed like this, because there's not such free movement in the front wheel. It's kind of restricted. Now, you can dial up or dial down the amount of resistance, I guess you could say, in the steering damper. So if you want it looser, you can do that with just a few clicks, and if you want it tighter, you can do that as well. But steering damper, you know, you don't need it, but it's a cool addition to the GT9. All right, so you might be asking, does that steering damper prevent you from getting full range of motion with the front wheel? Is it still maneuverable? Well, here's my little area that I like to do my maneuverability test, and I'm in single motor now, and there's absolutely no restriction whatsoever. And the good news is they make that hydraulic arm, I guess, long enough so that it doesn't interfere with any of your range of motion on your front wheels. So the only thing I really have to be careful of is getting my camera smacked on something when I cut the corner too close. So now, can this thing ride in grass? Well, I would think so with 7,000 watts. So riding through grass, I'm in single motor right now, and I'm able to ride through here no problem at all. So if you do have grass you need to ride through, you shouldn't have any issues whatsoever here on the GT9. Well, if you're ever in a situation where you got to ride over some big rocks and wonder how the suspension is, I'm going to show you right now. So like I said earlier, this isn't that KKE adjustable hydraulic suspension, so it's not that good. It's not bad, it's just kind of pretty good. So let me go ahead and show you in single motor how we go over these rocks and see how that suspension handles it. Yeah, no clickety clanks, no noises or anything like that. Does a pretty good job. All right, now I'm out here on some dirt and there's some pretty heavy ruts and stuff out here. So I figured you could do some more suspension tests. See how it does. I'm in dual motor now, so I have to be careful of the front wheel peeling out. But as you can see, it's pretty bumpy out here. We'll go over some of these tire ruts. So, you know, it does a pretty good job. Like I said, it's not as good as the KKE suspension on the Teveron, but it's not bad. Now, so far you've seen me sitting down on the GT9, and the reason is because I feel like this is a sit-down scooter. And that is because the stem height is really low. Now, typically scooters, when you're standing up, it's about mid-chest level is where the handlebars are. With the GT9, if I stand up, you can see that the handlebars are down here below my waist. So when you're riding, it just feels a little weird when I'm used to having my handlebars a little bit higher. So I just prefer to sit down on the GT9, but you can stand up if you want to. All right, riding over some brick pavers, don't feel them a bit. So suspension does a good job in that case, for sure. All right, let's go ahead and try some more grass here. I'm in single motor riding in grass. Able to hold 10 miles an hour without an issue. We put it in dual motor. And whoa, peeling out the front wheel. 15, 17 miles an hour. Now for seat comfort, it's actually not too bad. I'd probably give it maybe a 7 out of 10 when it comes to seat comfort. It does have a spring suspension underneath the seat, so you can bounce up and down as you go over bumps and things like that, and that does a pretty good job. The seat's a little skinny though, and so after riding for a few miles, your butt in one little spot kind of gets numb, so you got to stand up and give it a break. But if you see the seat, it's really not bad, but I might switch it out for one of my more comfortable seats, a little bit bigger seats, so it feels like I'm kind of sitting on a couch, you know? All right, so we're down to 2 battery bars under throttle and 3 battery bars when off the throttle, which tells me we're gonna be at or just below half battery. So let's go ahead and get our final range results, and then we'll finish off with pros and cons. All right, well, that ride was a lot of fun today. It's always such a blast to ride the Onecna GT9. I absolutely love it. Now, before we get to our pros and cons, let's get our final range results. So on today's ride, we went 23.48 miles. Looking at the battery, we've got 3 out of 6 battery bars left, so that's showing about halfway. And looking at the voltage, we started at 67, and we're at 57.8 right now. So if you do the math and you think about it, we used about 9.2 volts today, and we went 23.48 miles. So if we times that by 2, we're gonna get about 47 miles of range on this. And keep in mind, we rode in dual motor, gear 3, and sport mode all day long. Now, if you are a lighter rider than I am, riding in single motor, maybe in gear 1 and eco mode, then of course, you're probably gonna get closer to that 70 miles of range, but that's not any fun. So if you want to have fun when you're riding, like we did today, you can feel good to know that you'll still get 47 to 50 miles of range riding in dual motor sport mode. Now, the acceleration and the top speed did come down a little bit as we got lower in battery, but if you're a commuter and you're just looking for range, then you should have no problem hitting 50, if not even more miles here on the Onecna GT9. Top speed today, GPS verified at 50 miles an hour. I don't need to go any faster than that. I didn't hit 55, but I'm sure if I had more road that I'd be able to eventually get there. The scooter kind of tapers off once you hit about 50 miles an hour. So there you go, there's today's range results. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at my pros and cons. What did they do well and what could they do better? Well, number one has to be the power and the acceleration that we have on the GT9. 7,000 watts is just absolute bonkers. So if you're looking for a scooter that just get up and goes and shoots you off into outer space, the GT9 definitely does it. The pro number two is going to be the lighting. As you can see, the lighting is incredible. I love it. The different multicolor, the patterns, it just lights up like a Christmas tree at night. So when you're riding at night, you're definitely going to be able to be seen. Now, speaking of lighting, pro number 3 is going to be those dual headlights down there. I like to ride at night, and typically you need to get a much stronger headlight to put up here on your handlebars to be able to see at night, but not with the GT9. Those dual headlights right there light up your path. It's a nice and wide view, so you can ride at full speed at night without having to get an extra headlight. Now, the next pro number 4, is going to be those hydraulic and electronic brakes. They did a great job today during our brake test. We had a little bit of a skid trail, but I really didn't feel it, and we didn't skid out of control or anything. We were able to stop from 30 miles an hour in just 35 feet, which is awesome. So the brakes did a really good job today. What else do I like about it? Well, I do think that the steering damper does a good job if you're looking for something. It's not for speed wobbles, but if you're looking for something to just kind of tighten up the steering a little bit so that you can one-hand it once in a while, the steering damper does it for you. But you got to buy that separately. It doesn't come with the scooter. What else do I like? Oh, the price has got to be a pro, because $1,549 is a steal. This scooter would typically cost $2,500 to $3,000 for the performance that you're getting in this scooter, and they have it on sale right now for $1,549, so that is a pro. Now, there's a few things that I think they could do better. Number one is the vibration that I get when I hit 46, 47 miles an hour. It's pretty bad vibration, and I did reach out to them, and they said, put more weight on the front wheel. Well, I can't really do that. So I think they need to take a look at the roundness of the tires or the wheels or something to try to figure out the harmonics and why we vibrate when we hit 46, 47 miles an hour. Another thing is it's not very portable, so if you're looking for something that you can pick up and put in the car, it's not going to be that portable at 125 pounds. And finally, those accessories and spare parts are just way overpriced. They need to cut those prices in half, if not more, to make it more affordable for the average Joe. Well, that's pretty much it. Otherwise, I think it's a great scooter. For the price, you're getting a lot of performance, and it's definitely worth it. Now, if you have any questions or comments about the GT9, please go ahead and feel free to leave them down below. Also, I'll leave an affiliate link down there as well that helps out the channel, but it doesn't cost you a penny more. So I'd appreciate it if you use that. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe if I did a good job today, and hit that bell so next time I put out a video, you will be notified. Well, for the Onecna GT9 and HobartsReviews.com, thanks so much for joining me. My name is Hobart. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next ride.